Welcome back. The fact that you've progressed this far encourages me that you're doing well with the training and are nearly ready to begin podcasting. This training is about using animations in PowerPoint. Let's begin. Usually, we view a PowerPoint as a whole unit when someone else is speaking with it, but you would be wise to think of every piece of your slide as an individual entity. Our title bar is separate from the subtitle, which is separate from the additional text box, which is separate from any graphic. Each will have its own entrance and possibly even a unique emphasis and exit. We call these animations because they animate or make lifelike. For the most part, I only use the entrances. But I can see the benefit of using the others as well. Maybe I'll even get more creative as I progress, and I suspect you will too. In this podcast, I'll teach you to assign those animations to match your audio, the one you've already created with Audacity. We'll cue them up to match the movements on your screen using the Animation tab on the menu bar. First, I suggest you print out your slides in grayscale. If you're savvy with other methods, feel free to use those and save your ink. For now, I print mine out and then play my audio files from Audacity while I have a pen in hand. Remember that timing bar I mentioned in the last training? The one that looked like a ruler bar but measured time in seconds instead of spaces on a word processor? Keep your eyes peeled on that bar as the audio scrolls. You're listening for cues in the audio to match the content you want to appear on your slides at the moment those words are spoken. I simply scribble down the timing on each component of the slide, meaning each graphic, text box, title bar, bullet point, etc. For me, this method saves me tons of time. I've been taking very little time to do these podcasts. I've gone from taking an entire week to produce the first podcast to just a few hours to produce this one because of time-saving methods like this. Using the menu bar, open the Animations menu. You'll see a line of green animations from which you can choose, and inside that menu, about 3/4 of the way across the mass of options, you'll see the link to the animation pane. Open this pane. I have here an image of my simplest slide from the last training as it looked in the animation pane. Keep in mind that this at-a-glance feature is not available on all of the versions. The older versions probably do not have it, but you can still do all of this without an animation pane. You just have to add times and change orders using the features to the far right of the menu bar. I've expanded them a bit here so you can see that the same thing I'm doing in the animation pane can be done using this little device. It's just a little bit more time consuming. Since I have the full animation pane, I'll familiarize you with the interface. First, we have the slide tiles in the normal view, so we can quickly switch between slides by clicking on whatever slides we need. That has nothing to do with the animation pane, it's just a feature in PowerPoint. The animation section is at the top, and we'll cover more of that on the next slide. Then we have the work area, where you will click on each component to add the animation effects in the order you want them to appear. Finally, we have the animation pane proper, where we have a user-friendly method of ordering and formatting our items on the slide. I want to pause for a moment and show you the full animation bar. On the far right of that single line of effects that appears on your animation ribbon, you'll find a drop-down arrow. When you click on it, you'll see a full window appear with entrance effects, special emphasis, exit effects, motion paths, and access to even more options. I would suggest you keep things simple at first until you're comfortable exploring the possibilities. Work your way through each slide in order as we assign the tasks from here to the end of the training. The first thing to do on every slide is to add your audio file. Do this using the Insert menu. On the far right, you'll see a speaker icon. Click on it and select Audio on my PC. Because you have already saved your audio by a name that makes sense in a place that makes sense. Initially, it will show up in the middle of your slide. You don't want it to interfere with all the beautiful work you did, so click and drag it to the bottom underneath your slide. It will still run, but your customers don't need to see it. Now all of your components are on your PowerPoint slide and you are ready to apply the animations. Begin clicking on your components in the order that makes sense for them to appear according to the script you used when you recorded your audio. I've included my most complex slide from the last training we did to show you that each one has been assigned an animation by clicking on the component and then on the animation effect I want to apply to it. When I do that, PowerPoint will add it to the list on the right in the animation pane. I keep adding them in the order I want them to appear and then change the order if I need to by clicking and dragging anything that's out of place into its new place. I always want to drag the audio, however, to the very top. That's the first thing that should appear in every animation pane. After I have all of my animations set and in the order I want, I click on the top one, that would be the audio, hold down my Shift key, and then click on the bottom one. That selects every animation. Then at the bottom right corner of the bottom animation, there's a little drop-down arrow. When I click on that little arrow, I select Start with Previous. This lines them all up at the left of the animation pane and prevents some big headaches later on. If you see any mouse beside any of the items, you need to go into that item, click the drop-down menu, and select Start with Previous. They should all have Start with Previous selected. There are other ways to do this, but we feel this is the simplest and the best way to avoid problems that you'll have to troubleshoot later on. Now we'll begin timing your entrances and anything else you want to happen, but the basic training only covers those entrances. You'll need that printed version of the slides that you wrote all over with the times now. Begin clicking and dragging the green boxes in the animation pane until they are at the right time. You'll see a timing bar at the bottom of the animation pane, but you'll also see a timer box appear as you click and drag. Pull it to the exact second you want each animation to appear. You can even lengthen the time it takes for the animation to appear. Do this by clicking and holding the mouse over the right edge of the green box until a line splits. Then drag it to the right to make that animation come in over more time. In other words, it will just come in more slowly. When you think you have it all right, click Play All. If you have an animation selected, that icon will say Play From instead, so click off the animation to change it back to Play All. You should be able to hear the audio and see all of the animations come in at exactly the right time on cue. If you need to make adjustments, now's the time to do that. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Really, it's that simple. Just keep doing exactly the same thing for every slide until you're done. Then use the slideshow menu to run the entire slideshow from the very beginning. While it's in PowerPoint, you'll have to click to advance each new slide, but when we learn to make a movie or a video out of it in the next training session, the slides will advance automatically. That's it. You're done. Okay, almost. Stay tuned for our next training video on making a video from PowerPoint. God bless your day.